winter fragrances for men that will make you smell insanely good. A lot of different men's fragrances with some epic compliment makers that are perfect for winter. Hi, welcome. I'm going to show you some fantastic winter fragrances for men, but before we begin, please drop a like on this video. Thank you, I really do appreciate it, and make sure you subscribe for more. And I would love to hear from you what you think of these fragrances, and also which fragrances in your collection you absolutely love reaching for wintertime. So let's start with an absolute banger of a compliment getter, and this is basically like a big dose of Jean Paul Gaultier, sort of a signature vanilla, together with a massive dose of sweetness. So this is like vanillic and quite sweet, and it has a bit of tobacco to it, a very mass appealing dose of tobacco. So this is warm and sweet pretty much straight away. But what sort of balances up that warmth and sweetness and that intense dose of vanilla is a bit of mint and a bit of lavender. So that duo brings a fantastic contrast to this otherwise sort of a heavy vanillic and sweet scent. This is Jean Paul Gaultier Le Mal Elixir, a fantastic scent that's perfect for winter. So next up we have two fragrances from Armani Stronger With You line. Both of these are compliment getters, and both of these are perfect for winter. So the first one is Stronger With You Intensely. And this basically pushes that fantastic Stronger With You DNA in its most intensely sweet direction. And to me, Stronger With You Intensely basically has that Stronger With You duo of vanilla and lavender, but this has a massive dose of sweetness and a prominent dose of spiciness, and its sweetness has a sort of a caramel-ish kind of scent to it. So the other one from the Armani Stronger With You line that I think is perfect for winter is Absolutely. And this, instead of going in the intensely sweet direction that Intensely does, goes in a more woody direction. Armani Stronger With You Absolutely, to me, has that Stronger With You duo of vanilla and lavender with a big dose of woodiness and something quite boozy to it, and the entire thing has this sort of a balsamic and very smooth feel to it. So Armani Stronger With You Absolutely is basically Armani Stronger With You done in a quite woody and boozy way. So next up we have this. This in a way is like the perfect winter fragrance and could almost be like the perfect Christmas fragrance. This is intensely spicy. So this has a big dose of cinnamon together with a prominent dose of vanilla and a prominent dose of sweetness. The sweetness in Parfums de Oajan is that of honey, and this has a floral touch. Parfums de Oajan is one of few fragrances that I've given a perfect 10. This to me is a masterpiece. Now I know a lot of people feel that this is extremely similar to Kilian Angel Share, and yeah, there are some similarities. Both have a dose of cinnamon, both are quite sweet, both have a bit of vanilla to them, but Oajan doesn't have the intense booziness of Kilian Angel Share, and this is definitely nowhere near as woody as Angel Share. This is perfect for winter. So next up we have this, and this to me is pretty much like a massive dose of tobacco, a big dose of sweetness, and a big dose of booziness. So like smoky and boozy at the same time with a prominent dose of sweetness. This also has a prominent dose of vanilla, and everything is sort of balanced up by a bit of woodiness. Now the way my nose sort of interprets the tobacco in here has changed since I bought it. This to me nowadays, the tobacco in it has a sort of ashy quality to it. Now that might scare some away, but I do feel that this is quite a mass appealing dose of tobacco, and yeah, this is basically like booziness meets tobacco. I really don't have a lot of fragrances from Maison Margiela, but Jazz Club is definitely one of their absolute best, and this to me is a fantastic winter fragrance. So next up, two from the Spicebomb line, and the first one is pretty much a modern classic by now. This has spawned so many clones and inspired so many other brands to create sort of a sweet tobaccos with a focus on vanilla. The first one is Spicebomb Extreme. This is pretty much sweetness, tobacco with vanilla and quite a prominent dose of spiciness. I do think most guys have put their nose to Spicebomb Extreme, But if you have not and are looking for a fantastic winter fragrance, then make sure you put your nose to Spicebomb Extreme. So the other Spicebomb is Spicebomb Infrared, and this basically is Spicebomb going in a fruity sweet direction. So this is still intensely spicy. This has quite a prominent dose of tobacco, and this is quite sweet. But instead of the vanilla that you can find in the Extreme, this has quite a prominent dose of fruitiness. Both of these are perfect for winter. This is so good. This is from what I think quite an underrated line of men's fragrances. This is quite a sort of a tough one to in a way describe, because this is a mix of a quite prominent dose of sweetness, quite prominent dose of vanilla, but with a fantastic dose of fruitiness. And all of this, which is quite sort of a warm and sweet, with a dose of freshness. This has quite a prominent dose of gourmand sweetness. And I think the combo of gourmand sweetness, vanilla, together with its prominent dose of fruitiness, and that dose of freshness is fantastic. Rasasi Qasamat Ebhar is definitely perfect for winter. Now, I can't remember exactly what I paid for it. I believe it was around 40 or 50 bucks, which made this quite an affordable purchase. So next up, this thing right here, and this is basically like a massive dose of sweet honey. And this is, I'm gonna say this is pretty much the most sort of a realistic honey-like scent I ever put my nose to. You can pretty much feel the stickiness of the honey in this. This is so unique, like a big dose of sweet honey together with a massive dose of sweet tobacco. That is what Kilian Back to Black is to me. Now this is so intensely rich, so intensely warm, so intensely sweet that I actually mostly wear this on colder days. This is definitely not for everyone because of its intensely sweet honey. However, if you absolutely love sweet fragrances, if you love the scent of sweet tobacco, and if you think you would enjoy an intensely sweet honey-like kind of scent, then this is definitely something you should try out. This is so good. This is a fragrance I've talked so much about, so I'm not gonna say that much about it. This basically takes that fantastic, super sexy DNA of the Most Wanted in a more vanillic and woody direction. This is incredibly mass appealing, and this together with the Most Wanted or Parfum are pretty much guaranteed compliment getters, and I feel the Most Wanted Parfum is a great choice for winter. So next up, this thing right here, and this is definitely among some of the sexiest from Initio, and this is pretty much like, in a nutshell, a big dose of booziness together with what I think is quite a smooth dose of tobacco. This also has a sexy dose of sweetness and a bit of cinnamon. So you got this mix of spiciness, sweetness, tobacco and rum. This is basically what you spray on when you want to smell super sexy this winter. So incense is a note that I'm in a way a bit sort of sensitive to. I rarely enjoy fragrances that are too incensey or too sort of a churchy, if that even makes sense. However, this is what I think incense done right, and what is definitely among some of the most mass appealing incense focused scents ever made. So this, in a nutshell, is intense spiciness meets vanilla meets woodiness with a dose of incense, and the incense here, at least to me, is definitely among a more sort of a mass appealing kind. This is definitely incense, but it's not too incensey, if that makes sense. And This Is Him is definitely among my most complimented scents with incense, and a fragrance that's absolutely perfect for winter. Now this is absolutely nuclear, and this is actually, at least my bottle, is quite oily. So this is not something I'm gonna spray up in the air, and this is definitely not something I spray on clothes. This is absolutely beast mode, and this is another sweet tobacco with vanilla, and at least to my nose, a hint of oud. Now the opening can be a bit harsh, but if you wait for the dry down, you are going to be rewarded with a fantastic scent. This is very different to the other sweet tobaccos with vanilla that I talked about in this video, and I also feel that this has quite a bit of uniqueness to it. And I know that a lot of people feel that this is similar to Parfums de Marly Carlisle, and yeah, I do have to agree with that. This definitely has Carlisle vibes to it. If you want a beast mode room filler sweet tobacco fragrance for winter, then Mancera Red Tobacco is it. So next up, this is intensely woody, together with Acqua di Parma sort of a signature freshness. So this has a bit of citrusy freshness together with quite a rich kind of woodiness and oud. And that combo, Acqua di Parma citrusy freshness and the oud, makes this an oud with a big dose of uniqueness. Acqua di Parma Oud is woody and oudy in a rich and warm way, and it's an oud that's great for winter. And this, oh yes, oh yes.